Hello and welcome to Inspiring Courage podcast, Ash. Thank you for being my guest today.
Hi, thanks for having me, Vafa. Always enjoy it.
It's great to have you along. We were having a conversation the other day and you were giving me a piece of good news. You have been selected to go into an award ceremony in the financial sector. It's a huge, huge win for you. I want to congratulate you, first of all, for being recognized shortly after setting up business, because you're a relatively young business, aren't you? And we were talking, and I just wanted to, first of all, congratulate you, and then secondly, get you to elaborate on how, in such a short space of time, you have managed to get the recognition that is huge for you.
Yeah, thanks very much. The Money Facts Awards for us is almost like the Emmys or the Oscar. You know, you can't really get much higher for that in terms of being a protection advisor, being in the mortgage market. And it took a lot of effort, trial and error, as you would say, to get, from a startup to kind of where we are now with that mindset.
Okay, and the trials, tell me about the times that you thought you might fail, but you still carried on, because that's what you were talking to me earlier. It's about having the courage to carry on in the face of adversity at times, isn't it? And the steps that you took to do that.
Yeah, a lot of people see failure and trials and things like that as a bad thing. I see adversity as, just a testament to character. Because when I first came into the industry, a lot of the colleagues I had stuck to just basically the bare minimums of what they knew. And they were so inundated with work, they didn't have time to babysit someone like me. And so I almost became a student of the game, as you generally do. I started to learn, read, research, go outside the box. And before I know it, I was coming up with solutions, options, lenders, providers that a lot of my colleagues never even knew existed, just because I just read the document. They would be like, well, how did you know that's true? I go, you didn't read the document? As simple as something like that. And because I didn't lean on hearsay or what other people before me knew and went out and ventured off and learned for myself, I became the mantle of where other people came to for direction. And I carried that forward into the business and attracted other like-minded people like myself that were very savvy, very proactive, very engaged with everyone else to make sure that we were progressively growing, but also being humble as well.
And that's what I love about it, because you told me about this achievement that you had, and you still hadn't even posted anything on social media. And I think that's a testament to how humble you are, and that you do it for the love of it rather than to shout over the rooftops and say, look, look at what I've achieved. And it's lovely that you stepped outside of your comfort zone, because that's what you were talking about. And I guess that comes from you being a professional sportsman. That's my guess. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. And it's a lot of people didn't ever have that controlled environment of being allowed to fail. Just
Mm.
like a baby, when a baby begins to walk, they don't think that they're failing. They're just
Mm.
working towards something continually with parents around to generally guide, as they grow up. Unfortunately, a lot of workplace scenarios aren't like that. You start in a role and you either figure it out yourself or you stick to the bare minimums of what you know, and you're not allowed to nurture and grow and into developing yourself as a valuable entity into a company.
Yeah, and that's the shame of it, actually. And I get that mindset, that you had the mindset of a sportsman, the mindset of somebody who needed to try and try and try again and try in the face of adversity yet again so that they could succeed. It's about redefining that, the meaning of failure, because failure has such a negative meaning to most of us. Failure means that we have failed to the extent that we need to give up. However, a child, as you said, never gives up because they don't think failure is an option. That's one of the presuppositions that we have in NLP. There's no failure, only feedback. So well done to you. I'm really pleased that you just kept going, and I wish you a lot of luck in the ceremony. I hope that you get to go in the physical sense rather than have the online version of the ceremony. So it's in September, I understand, isn't it?
It is, but I'll take anything as a win for me. We're being mentioned. They've already tried to make it fun. So if there's a Zoom ceremony, we have like Zoom speeches and bits and bobs like
Oh,
that.
how
But
lovely.
yeah, one thing to harp on what you said earlier, the one quote I love is a quote about Michael Jordan's old college coach. And he said, the only one that could stop Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan. And he was the only one that can turn himself on and off. And he never turned himself off. That a line like that was just incredible to me. But that's the kind of mindset a lot of people need to have, because the only one who can stop you is generally you.
And that's it. We stand in our own way. If everybody understood that their thoughts shape their reality, the world that we live in is shaped by the thoughts that we have, by the way we speak to ourselves. And if we were to fix that, we would fix a lot of our problems, actually. So thank you so much for coming to chat with me. I'm so grateful. What I get from you is the importance of stepping outside your comfort zone, the importance of allowing yourself to make mistakes. And you're the father of a young child. The importance for me, most of all, of having that culture, showing your child that you're not afraid of failure, that failure doesn't mean I'm going to stop, it means I'm going to start again. And to instill that belief in a child by modeling that behavior, I think is of great value. So well done you. I'm really pleased for you, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you can actually attend in person and collect your award.
Yeah, thanks very much. Fingers crossed on that. But yeah, for those out there, Vafa's podcast, great. Courage, comfort, don't get comfortable on the couch.
Exactly, step outside of that comfort zone. Thank you for being my guest today. Lovely to talk to you.
All right, thank you for having me.
Cheers then, bye-bye.